In Venezuela, citizens rallied in support of peace and President Nicolás Maduro's electoral victory in the elections of July 28th. In Palestine, the Ministry of Health in Gaza denounced that during the last 24 hours, the Israeli occupation army killed at least 33 civilians, while 118 were injured. The Pan American Health Organization issued an epidemiological alert to prevent, observe, and diagnose the Oropouche virus as cases continue to increase. Hello, welcome from the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. In Venezuela, massive mobilization packed the streets of Caracas to show the world the Venezuelan people took a strong stance in defense of peace and the victory of President Nicolás Maduro. Our correspondent Gladys Quesada with the details.
The Venezuelan people took to the streets this Saturday afternoon, not with violence or hostility, but with peace, music and slogans to defend the victory of elected President Nicolás Maduro, who won in the elections last Sunday.
We are going to the street to defend our homeland, our sovereignty, our independence, and to back Nicolás Maduro. And the Yankees can forget because we are defending our sovereignty. Long live the homeland, long live Venezuela, long live Nicolás Maduro.
The march at Indies also demanded justice after the terrorist actions and violence outbreaks in the nation prompted by the radical extremist right-wing groups, which resulted in over 1,000 detentions. The rioters provoked terror under the excuse of contesting the electoral results of the July 28th polls. Also, the intellectual authors of these actions must face the law, according to Venezuelan people.
The Venezuelan justice is going to act to capture all of the intellectual authors calling to the violence, where have been death, when it's been destroyed medical facilities, when schools has been destroyed. They're going to pay, Maria Corina, you're going to pay. You're going to pay for every crime that you committed. And you're always shielding under the gringos, but that's over. That's your turn. Miss Maria Corina, stop the violence. Your children are in the United States, and you're putting issues in crisis and crime to the young people of our homeland. You can search for your kids and pull it in the front, your sons in the United States.
This crowd is also outraged by the interference of the United States, the European Union, international organizations, and an insignificant group of Latin American countries, and demands respect for them. They reject any interference in the country.
I am against of those countries that are not recognizing our sovereignty, our will, and they're recognizing in a way very responsible the results that are presented by Maria Corina Machado and Mundo González.
Throughout this week, different social forces in the country have taken to the streets to reaffirm solid support for President Nicolás Maduro and to warn the world that they are willing to enforce their decision at the ballot box and to reject the attempted coup by the ultra-right extremists. For teleSUR English, Gladys Quesada, Caracas, Venezuela.
In the context of the large rallies in support of peace, Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro said that security forces in perfect civil-military union thwarted the far-right's destabilization plans.
But in 48 hours, with the capability of responsive reaction of the civil and military and police forces union, we solve it with the constitution and peace. The faces outbreak, we have 2,000 prisoners captured, and they're going to the maximum penalties. Justice. This time it won't be forgiveness upon them. This time forgiveness is not available.
President Maduro also indicated that whenever he is summoned, he will be there ready to collaborate in everything.
Every time that I'm summoned here, I will be here. And the day that you require the 100% of the tally sheets of our witness in the electoral tables, we are ready, the Great Patriotic Poll and the PSUV, to consign the 100% of the legal tally sheets that we got from our witness in every table of the country.
The head of state also emphasized that unity of the people is fundamental in defeating the destabilizing actions of the far right.
Venezuela has to defend the right to peace. You know why? We won the peace so quick in only 48 hours. Because this people was mobilized in early hours. Only on Tuesday, and I was surprised, the neighbors of Katia, 23 Enero, Petare, when they got by thousand here to the people's balcony. The criminal guarimbas were already activated in some places. And it's fundamental that the people is empowered, that the people is mobilized. And it's fundamental the union from the people, from the military, from the police.
The Venezuela Nuestra campaign command announced that the far-right forged the fake tally sheets to give grounds for claiming fraud and disregarding electoral results. Let's see details in the following material.
The head of the campaign command, Jorge Rodriguez, granted that the tally sheets published on the far-right website represent just 30% of the true data.
¿Cómo es posible que el secretario de Estado de la que se considera la mayor potencia del mundo?
How is this possible that the Secretary of State of what is considered the greatest global power accepts a result when they only published 9,468 tally sheets, just representing 30%? What they issued there on the web because we visited the site and took out their fake info counting up 9,468 tally sheets, 30%. I still call them tally sheets for didactic reasons, but those are not tally sheets. If you divide the ballot papers assigned to González Urrutia in Amazonas states, 46,099 ballot papers by the turnout figured, he says, gives the result of 63%. And if you divide the votes assigned to President Nicolás Maduro, 22,228 ballot papers by the same turnout, he says, gives the result of 30%. How curious that in the 23 states nationwide, González Urrutia gains 63%, while Maduro gets 30%. That is, all states, such as Guaira, Amazonas, Sucre, and Anzoátegui, Caracas, provided exactly the same results. That is mathematically impossible.
El mismo resultado. Eso es matemáticamente imposible.
Rodriguez presented pieces of evidence to the country of how the far-right opposition planned to disregard the electoral results.
Y es que el señor Edmundo González Urrutia,
on July 29 evening, Mr. Edmundo González Urrutia made available to Venezuelans a website where they were allegedly going to upload some tally sheets with the electoral results. The results of the presidential July 28 election in 2024. How curious that the day before the elections on July 27, 2024, the far-right opponents acquired this domain. They brought it and rented it for a year from July 27, 2024 to July 27, 2025. That is, they had already decided not to abide by the results.
Julio del 25, es decir, ya ellos habían decidido no acatar el resultado.
Jorge Rodriguez, also president of the National Assembly Parliament, recalled that the former far-right presidential candidate, Edmundo González, did not sign the agreement on the recognition of the results.
Ustedes saben muy bien, porque es público, notorio y comunicacional.
You know very well because it has been widespread on all media outlets that none of the spokesperson of the candidate González Urrutia have accepted neither to sign the agreement of the candidates in the National Electoral Council or to recognize the authority of the only entity in charge of deciding who was the winner.
A decidir quién había resultado vencedor.
Rodriguez assured that this alleged fraud was set up by the Summit company with the participation, from abroad, of far-right leaders, and reaffirmed that the campaign command and President Nicolás Maduro are willing to guarantee the transparency of the electoral process.
Let's now take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English. We will find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. In Palestine on Sunday, an attack hit a tented area in the courtyard of the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Hospital in central Gaza, killing 4 people and wounding others. Volunteers were seen rushing to the scene at Al-Aqsa Martyrs Hospital, rescuing wounded and carrying bodies while trying to extinguish the fire. The wounded were treated at the hospital while the bodies of the deceased were transferred on stretchers to the morgue, health authorities confirmed. Old Al-Aqsa Martyrs Hospital in Deir al-Balah is the main medical unit working in central Gaza, where thousands have sought refuge after fleeing their homes in the war-torn territory. On the other hand, on Sunday, the Ministry of Health in Gaza denounced that during the last 24 hours, the Israeli occupation army killed at least 33 civilians, while 118 were injured. In this sense, the report also added that the number of Palestinians killed since October in Gaza exceeds 39,583, and the number of wounded exceeds 91,398. Should be noted that nearly 10,000 people are missing, presumed dead under the rubble of their homes, while Israel has continued its genocidal offensive, ignoring the International Court of Justice that ordered it to halt its military offensive in Palestine. Meanwhile, in Israel, thousands of Israelis once again took to the streets of Tel Aviv on Saturday to demand that Benjamin Netanyahu's government reach an immediate agreement to guarantee an exchange of hostages. The security forces again attacked thousands of citizens, including the families and friends of the captives, who on Saturday took cover behind a gigantic 40-meter-long banner with a summary of the past days of the genocidal operation. Another of the demands that silenced the Israeli police brutally was the immediate call for elections and the immediate departure of the Zionist prime minister from government. And in India, representatives of leftist organizations demanded total solidarity with the Palestinian cause by suspending all agreements with the Zionist regime of Israel. As a sign of solidarity, different organizations asked the central government to close all agreements with the government in Tel Aviv, which is committing genocide in the Palestinian territory. They also demanded an immediate ceasefire and the recognition of a Palestinian state with West Jerusalem as its capital. It should be noted that the participants called for the invocation of the UN Special Committee against Apartheid to put an end to the Israeli regime in the Palestinian territories and to hold them accountable. On Sunday, Palestinians organized demonstrations for the assassination of Ismail Haniyeh, political leader of the Palestinian resistance movement, Hamas, in the framework of the International Day of Support for the Gaza Strip and those imprisoned in Israeli prisons. Demonstrators celebrated the steadfastness of the Palestinian prisoners in the occupation prisons. For their part, the government authorities expressed that the Palestinian people are united to support Gaza and to support those deprived of their freedom, who have been suffering the consequences of the Israeli siege since October. In the meantime, they called to intensify activities in support of the Palestinian people and highlighted the messages of support sent by the world to the citizens in Gaza. The people of Pakistan on Sunday also joined the mobilizations in support of the people of Palestine after the declaration of mourning for the assassination of the leader of Hamas, Ismail Haniyeh, during an Israeli aggression against Iran. Demonstrators filled the streets in different cities of Pakistan to mourn the death of the leader who gave his life in sacrifice for Palestine. Pakistan's National Assembly adopted a resolution condemning Israel's oppression and brutality against Gaza and demanded that quick measures be taken to stop Tel Aviv's aggressions.
Free Palestine!
We have a fun short break coming up, but before we invite you to join our WhatsApp community for our English-speaking audience. You can scan the QR code on screen to join directly and share the link to reach more people. Constant news coverage of Latin America and the Caribbean as well as the rest of the world. Fun short break, don't go away. Welcome back. The Pan American Health Organization issued an epidemiological alert to prevent, observe, and diagnose the Oropouche virus. The organization reported that as of July, more than 8,000 confirmed cases and 2 deaths from the disease have been registered. It also reported that the disease has been transmitted through the region and at least in 5 countries, among them Bolivia, Brazil, Colombia, Cuba, and Peru. In this sense, the health organization warned that although Oropouche fever is described as mild, the increase in the transmission of severe cases makes it necessary to be more vigilant because of the possible more severe manifestations. The Brazilian government confirmed that so far there are 7,286 cases of the Oropouche virus in 21 states of the country. It also confirmed the death of a fetus due to the transmission of the virus in the state of Pernambuco. Authorities also said that 8 cases of transmission of the virus to embryos, which could have caused fetal death or the development of congenital anomalies, are under investigation. In Russia, the Ukrainian army carried out a new attack on Russian citizens in the Belgorod region. Authorities from Belgorod reported a new attack on the town of Shebekino and confirmed that as a result of the Ukrainian onslaught, 2 civilians were injured and a house was set on fire. They detailed that 4 other residences were damaged as well as a vehicle. The local government also denounced the attack with kamikaze drones against 3 other villages in Belgorod. The Russian territories bordering Ukraine, such as Belgorod, Kursk, and Crimea, regularly denounce the impact of shells and illegal incursions from Ukraine. In Bolivia, authorities recorded 23,748 heat sources and 8 active forest fires, mainly in the eastern department of Santa Cruz. Santa Cruz leads the list with 21,284 heat sources distributed along 7 departments. Firefighting teams deployed to combat the growing crisis. The Joint Command for Response to Adverse Events described the figure as alarming. They attributed part of the origin of these outbreaks to the practice of saqueos, the authorized burning in fields to prepare land for agriculture and cattle raising. Authorities warned that the areas near the Bioceanic Highway, vital for the connection between Bolivia and Brazil, are at risk because the fires threaten road safety. In Kyoto, and 23 others remain missing after a flash flood swept through a village in the southern province of Sichuan. According to authorities, during the last few days, the country has been affected due to heavy rains, partly associated with Typhoon Kaemi, a situation that has triggered flooding in several regions. According to the latest report, some 96,500 people were evacuated after losing their homes. In the central province of Hunan, more than 1.2 million people have been affected and 127,000 hectares of crops have been damaged. In view of the current situation, the region is maintaining active emergency response protocols for floods and possible geological disasters after the passage of Typhoon Kaemi. We have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website, telesurenglish.net. So join us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.